All right, it's Bullshit for Your Health, the most balanced podcast in the world. Today I got Jay Viante. Donica will be joining us at some point, and Isaiah might pop in at the end, but the homie works from 8:30 to 4:30 on Sunday, so can't really help that. But again, I'm Jabari, your host. Let's get into some fucking bullshit, bro. But today, we got a lot to talk about because a lot has happened since last month. It is March, 25th? 26th? Yep, March 25th, 2026. And we're currently at war with Iran. And ironically, tragically speaking, it happened 2 days after we recorded last episode. So that's why there was no conversation on it last episode. But a lot has happened since then. But for real, this episode, we got a few different topics. So we got, again, Trump and Israel strike Iran. J.D. Vance announces the government will withhold Medicaid funds from the entire state of Minnesota. The Texas Senate primaries happened, and as we predicted, Jasmine Crockett lost. The DOGE depositions happened, and then just some fun shit, you know. Jack Harlow said the N-word. La Russell said that Epstein could make it to heaven. And Dwight Howard's wife posted a video of his supposed cocaine on the internet. But I guess where I would like to start while we wait for Donica to get into this more serious shit is I definitely want to implore everybody who listens to take note of the influencers, entertainers, broadcasters, news pundits who brought us to this second Trump presidency, which we now call a Trump regime, and really take stock of the information you're digesting, because almost everything that has happened, not just with this war in Iran this month, but with the Trump tariffs, with the general decline of American quality of life, was predicted. You know, I think that's been the most frustrating part about paying attention to what's going on in America at this point in time. People far more educated and far smarter than me basically told us step by step how everything was going to happen, right? Specifically with this war in Iran. And unfortunately, if they are correct, we could literally be looking at a nuclear apocalypse. But all that to say, I think we have a very bad problem with holding people accountable in this country, right? Unless they're black celebrities. Okay, we'll cancel black celebrities all day, every day, and we'll never let them make money again or hear from them again. But specifically, when it comes to other communities, specifically the complexion for the protection of the collection community, we don't hold them or hold their feet to the same fire. And I think that is a big reason why we're at where we're at now. Like, again, like, I think it's perfectly reasonable that anybody who convinced you to vote for Trump this year, you probably should never listen to for a political opinion again. You know? Like, I'm just being honest with that. I think the atonement that those people have to do to get to a point where you would credibly listen to their political takes is such a long road that you could probably just definitely say just stop listening to them for politics, because everybody, I mean, and I'm talking about, I could throw out some names of creators, but I think that'd be pointless. But there are people who maybe not had the same politics as me throughout the years who didn't assuage the Trump identity to allow people to vote for them. But, you know, a lot of the biggest podcasts, okay, the Joe Rogans, the Andrew Schultz, the Theo Vons, again, kind of ironic, these are all white men, but even like the DJ Academics, the Nicki Minaj's, individuals who, for whatever reason, I think a lot of it is due to the fact that they're doing very well in this capital system, right? Decided to place their bets on a fascist and led their audience of millions to vote for fascism. And I just think it is deplorable that more of these people have not come out steadfast and basically did what this white woman did on the internet recently and say, I'm a dumbass, my fault, my fucking bad, because that's the level of what's the word? Humility and ego death I think we need to ever get the status of our country back to something respectable on the world stage. So yeah, I just want to start with that. Any of those entertainers, influencers, broadcasters, socialites, and I don't give a fuck. Like, they should just not be listened to for politics ever again. Like, just unfortunately, I'll say what some people like to say: keep it art. In my opinion, art is inherently political, but whatever. Just keep it. Like, just listen to them for their fart jokes. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But like when that nigga starts talking about what's happening in the Middle East, or they start talking about, oh my God, the Trump administration doing this, just stop. Okay, we don't need it anymore. We don't need you to talk anymore about this. Please take a seat. Am I wrong in that, Jay Beyonce? Or I mean.
No, I don't think you're wrong, but I'm sure we're going to really get into this. But I think one of the things that we have neglected to really touch forth in your beautiful soliloquy is that a lot of these podcasters, a lot of these media outlets, they have the backing of individuals who want Trump to cause chaos, to continue to do what he's doing. And I think that we need to really, really start looking into who's the people that pays these individuals, right? Because I think what do they say? Follow the money. When you follow the money, the answers will be there. And I think that what we're going to see, or if you do follow that trail, you're going to see a lot of those talking heads being paid by people who are friends with Trump, people who have been in close proximity, close rooms, and or directly donated to Trump's campaign because it benefits them one way or another. So I
Oh, for
think
sure.
when you start peeling back that layer and you start really seeing how all of those things are connected, you'll be able to use your discernment in a lot of better ways, y'all. And I think that just really touching on upon that and understanding who's talking to us, not the podcasters that you see, that's just the face. When you understand who's really talking to us behind the podcasters, then you're like, all right, it makes sense. And that would be the easiest way to stop listening to those individuals, in my opinion.
Yeah. And again, I think follow the money is such good advice, actionable steps. But for me personally, a lot of the news broadcasters I watch online, they actually have models where they're Patreon based or they're subscription based, so they don't have to take ad money. Like, again, if you're listening to the political opinions of somebody who in the next breath is going to try to sell you Blue Chew, you can probably guarantee the information you're getting is subpar. You know what I'm saying? Or at least not primary source, let's just say. You know what I'm saying? So I just be getting so fucking. I don't want to say triggered, okay, but I definitely be getting a little bit like, bro, these niggas are still just on here moving like they didn't just usher in the Fourth Reich, bro. They didn't just usher in the end of time to this country, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we're going to get into it, but I seen a very interesting post, which actually crystallized how I feel about this current conflict as well. And I'm just going to that, drop that language into this once we reach that topic of the war, because
I mean, shit, I was trying to wait for Donica to pop on, but I mean, we could literally, if it's probably the biggest topic we have today, and I think it is the most consequential topic, unfortunately. Before we get into that, I do want to say, hey guys, remember, this is all a distraction from, well, a few different things, but we were just talking about the Epstein files. We had that nigga apparently on the ropes, okay? We had Congress people coming out talking about how there was credible accusations of a 13-year-old saying Trump raped them. And then all of a sudden, the U.S. and Israel joint strike Iran. And we haven't talked about it for 26 days. Coincidence? I think not. But unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, but pragmatically, we do need to talk about the current war being waged on Iran, because it is a war. So For those of you who are living under a rock, for those of you who do not listen to anything news wise, and I guess have coworkers who don't talk about worldly events, your country, the United States of America, and the country of Israel in the Middle East joint striked the country of Iran this month. I don't know the exact dates, and I'm gonna be honest, guys. We're not a primary source. We are a broadcast channel, so I'm here to tell you what to do. So go look it up yourselves. But basically, how this happened, how this started, was that, to the best of my knowledge, we were in continued talks with Iran because if you guys remember from the first Trump administration, we ripped up the Iran deal, which was going to stop them stockpiling uranium to the number able to, create a nuclear weapon, but still allow them to use nuclear power. And because of that, the Trump administration has used that discrepancy of what the fuck am I trying to say? Basically, because they ripped up that deal, the Trump administration has kept the lingering question of will the Iranian government build a nuclear weapon, right? So they were in talks the beginning of the month about what they were going to offer or what they were going to allow the Iranian government to do in an effort to avoid quote unquote conflict in the region. Again, I want to emphasize, prior to the first Trump administration, we had a deal with Iran that basically prohibited them from stockpiling uranium to the levels they need to create a nuclear weapon. We were going to be sending in people from around the world to check. The Iranians were cool with this. We were all good. Then Trump ripped up that deal. And then this past month, in his second administration, he was sparking tension with that same country, basically saying, we need a deal to make sure you don't stockpile uranium to build nukes. Crazy, right? During those negotiations, where apparently Iran was offering concessions that were better than the Iran deal, they were basically saying, hey, my nigga, we're just not going to do shit. Hey, okay? The Trump regime and the Israeli regime decided unilaterally, without congressional approval, to strike Iran. And they did that.
They killed Iran's leader.
They killed the entire government top level structure of Iran, which was the Ayatollah. Additionally, because of what we now know to be probably the misuse of AI and targeting, they bombed schools, they bombed hospitals, they bombed residential areas, and basically committed more war crimes and travesties through direct U.S. military action than we've seen since the 2000s Iraq and Afghanistan war. Not only did all this happen, but they did it again without congressional approval. They did it without even the slightest wavering support from the American people. They did it at a time when Americans are already suffering financial incongruities from Trump's previous policies. So where are we at now? So where we're at now, after all this illegal warfare, is there's been a new Ayatollah, which is the son of the grandson of the original Ayatollah, and this son is far more radicalized because in those initial strikes, they killed his grandfather, they killed his wife, they killed his children, and reportedly he lost a leg in the bombing.
During Ramadan, y'all, we have to all put into context. This is their spiritual holiday. This is their religious recognition. Things are strategic. that was very strategic on the part of the U.S. and Israel.
And
We talking about history repeating itself again?
yeah, and
Okay.
hey, Donica. Donica's on the
Oh, hey
pod.
guys.
And I guess while we have her here, we'll plug it again. This is Bullshit for Your Health. Follow us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, all that shit. Okay, but yeah, back to the world
Look at
contraption
Jabari being in his marketing bag. Look at
we're having right now. No, it is the playbook of the Israeli government, which we have been calling a genocidal settler colonial state for years now. But this is something they've done in the Gaza Strip. They bombed during Ramadan. This is something they've done throughout the entire 100 years war on Palestine. They are also, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So basically, where we're at right now with the Iranian regime is that, right? Additionally, since this has started, Israel has started bombing Lebanon. The crazy part about that is that there's been talks of Israel trying to do a greater Israeli project for years now. A lot of people who were trying to sound the alarm on this were called anti-Semites. They were called a whole host of names that would try to malign them as prejudiced or racist. But at this point, if you listen, and if you have been listening to the Israeli leadership, they're literally talking about annexing southern Lebanon the same way that they've annexed Gaza, which taking territory to make your country bigger is what people have been saying the greater Israeli project is from the jump. So again, where we're at now is that the U.S. is entangled in a war of attrition to try and change a regime that was already willing to, before the bombing, negotiate with us and give us everything we wanted, and is aligned with a country that is actively trying to expand their territory in a zone that every other country in that zone has been living somewhat peacefully with for over the last 100 years. This is a fucking complete and utter shit show. For those of you who don't pay attention and listened to all the war propaganda over the years, whether it's, you know, Saving Private Ryan, or was it the Chris Kyle story with the American Sniper, what's that, Jarhead, like all these war movies that made it seem like, I mean, I feel like those movies showed the perils of war and the perils of PTSD, but a lot of people kind of like took that as like a medal or badge of honor. I mean, I come from Virginia, so I know a lot of idiots who like join the military with the desire to go and fight for freedom around the world.
It's the glamorization of it for me.
Exactly.
Because it essentially allows you to feel as though you have some sort of control in a situation where you're actually the person being controlled.
You're the pawn on the chessboard, because I think the craziest situation or the craziest revelation to come out of this war is that the U.S. Army or the U.S. military has been shown to be a paper tiger when it comes to our status as a world
Can you
empire.
define paper tiger, please?
So
what is a paper tiger?
So a paper tiger is a not allegory, or it's a euphemism basically to say something that is perceived as a threat, right? Because a real life tiger would be very deadly and very dangerous to a human being, right? But if you got closer to this quote unquote real life tiger and you realize that it was made out of paper, you'd realize that it was not an actual fear. You just thought it was big and scary because you were looking at it from far away. But when you got up close, you realize it's actually not that dangerous. All that to say, the American military for years, because we have outposts in every over like 100 different countries in the world. We have the largest military by 5 times with our aircraft carriers, with our perceived highest number of nuclear weapons. We are looked at as the world superpower, right? We are looked at as the same way that the Roman Empire was looked at, the same way that the British Empire was looked at, the same way that the Ottoman Empire was looked at in contemporary times. But since World War II, I would honestly say we have not unilaterally been able to, not unilaterally because World War II wasn't unilateral, but we have not been able to win any military conflict by might alone. We've actually lost every military conflict when you really think about it since the Vietnam War. And significantly speaking, these wars we fought have been wars where the quote unquote enemy, and I'm only saying enemy because that's what the U.S. dictated them as, but the defending force were using guerrilla tactics. We're using tactics of, or we're fighting from a perspective of self-preservation, right? Iraq, Afghanistan.
I want to speak to that too, right? Because that goes directly to your paper tiger point. I think that to everyone else, right, the U.S. is still that tiger. The difference, though, is, and this goes to your self-preservation, when a bully tells you for over 2 decades that I'm coming for you, you better not do anything. I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. As the person who is being bullied, is that person just going to sit there and be like, all right, I'll wait for that day. All right, I'm going to let you come fuck me up whenever you want to come fuck me up. No. Right. What that person who's being bullied is going to do is going to pick up that sock, going to slowly put rocks in that sock, going to walk to the playground, going to wait till the bully makes their first move, and then pull out that big ass sock with them rocks in it that they've been collecting for 2 decades.
Correct. And you've been harassing me. You've been harassing me, threatening me, and not following up on said threat. So at this point, you've announced your arrival. Like, you know what I mean?
And what I think happened is that Iran knew that this day was going to come. They knew that it was going to be inevitable. And what they did,
guys, we're going to say Iran. We can say Iran.
So what they did was they decided that, hey, we're just going to put all of our defenses into countering the U.S. defenses because that's quote unquote the best defenses in the world. So we'll be good with anybody else. And I think that they found really good ways. They've shot down fucking built $1 million airplanes. They've been able to, blow up bases with $20,000 drones, things that, a lot of people don't believe or didn't believe that Iran was capable of doing, capable of coming to. So it's just one of those main things where the U.S. fucked up by announcing itself. That's pretty much where it really was. And why are you trying to fucking bully this country like this? Like, just let them be them. Don't rip up the nuclear deal.
Oh, the answer is always they have something we want. So when in doubt, you can just look at and natural resources is a great place to start when you're trying to figure out why is the U.S. involved in something that is seemingly none of our fucking business. It is always because it benefits us in some way, and natural resources is number one. But now I think it looks, it's that plus tech plus this plus that. Human resources, like, let's not act like human trafficking stopped in slavery. You know what I mean? Like, this is a dark place built on the blood of literal people. Like, what are you doing all this for? You just got on here.
I was going to say something to your point about what it's for, like resources and stuff like that, but I didn't want to repeat any points that were made while my fucking internet was blowing the fuck up for some reason. So just let me know if I'm repeating. But one of the things they're saying about the reason why we did this war of aggression on Iran is literally because of Israel.
Israel said so.
You missed you know what you did miss? You missed me saying that we're going to say Iran because we can say Iran.
Oh,
it's not Iran. Iran. It's you don't need an accent. It's Iran. But that's unnecessary. You did too much.
That's like I've been trying to say Giza instead of like.
No, you sound like the white people trying to say nigga, like a little too excited.
No, because nigga's a derogatory term. What I'm saying,
it's the excitement behind it. That's why I said that.
I feel like it needs to be pointed out to is that and you spoke on this earlier, Jabari, and I mentioned it earlier as well, that the distraction is really. And this goes to your point too, Donica. The distraction is really humanity versus Epstein and his backers. Like that's what this is. That is what World War III is and will be. It's starting with Iran protecting the humanity and fighting for humanity's rights, whereas the U.S. and Israel literally is the personification of that 1% elite that's trying to control the world and trying to commit all of these atrocities without any accountability. And that's literally Epstein versus humanity.
I think I agree with you. I don't think the Epstein class wants this war for anything other than what potentially they could make from military contractors, from AI using different services to help bomb people. I think the influence of Israel can't be overstepped here, only simply because, and again, I'm not taking any agency away from Trump. Trump is the reason why America did this, but Israel has been wanting this war with Iran for 47 years, right? Netanyahu literally has said out his mouth, I want this war for 47 fucking years. And the reason why Israel wants a war with Iran backed by the American military is that Iran is the only country in the Gulf states that has the military power to effectively.
Why you say it right and take it back and say it wrong?
Oh,
he's talking about Iran. My bad, Iran.
Oh, fuck, dude! I don't know. You got me self-conscious now. I'm trying to be. I'm trying.
Iran.
I was waiting for you.
Let's say it together. Iran. No. Stop the accent. Iran.
Fuck.
Iran.
I'm. Listen. Damn, bro.
This is. I just want y'all to know. Next time a white person's struggling, just give him a little more grace. Just this much.
Listen. I got a white daddy. I do.
Yeah, me too. I mean, my white daddy in heaven now, but yeah.
Listen, well, when they come to cancel us,
do you think they go out? Never mind.
When they come to cancel us, that's the first photo they pull up.
Because he's American. You know, he's American white. You think he still get to go to heaven? I don't know. I'll find out.
But no. So what I'm basically trying to say though is that
Javiante, like y'all a mess.
Iran is.
We in the white daddy step club, Javiante. I mean, wait, white step daddy club.
Listen, I heard white daddies, and I'm like, I'm gonna let y'all cook.
Let them cook.
It's mine. Listen, I just realized.
All I know is that financial practices you learn one way or the other.
I just realized my dad and Bimmy have the same birthday. Yeah. Tell me why I didn't know that for the last 10 years.
You did realize it is today, right?
Yeah, I called him both.
Okay, you've only known her for 14 years and him for your whole life.
Listen. That's why I told Maya today when she reminded me. She's my better half, because holy fuck. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Iran is the only country that has the military power to effectively wage war against Israel, against Israel's war of aggression against the other areas. And basically, if Iran is taken out, per se, there would be no power in that region strong enough to prevent Israel's war or plans for a greater Israel. And you see that now. Like, every country is going to be at risk. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon. Oh my God, like what's left of Gaza, what's left of the West Bank? Because again, while all this is happening, while Israel is fighting or bombing schools in Iran, while Israel is bombing South Lebanon, they're also still taking more land in the West Bank. They're murdering villagers in the West Bank. They're continuing to starve out Gaza, and it's atrocious. And they're doing it all in the name of Zionism, right? A ethno-nationalist religion that is at its core fascist. We are currently living in the bad guy state, guys. Like, I don't know how to put it more bluntly than that. If this was World War II, we would be on the side of the fucking Nazis, guys. Is that the country you want to fucking live in? It's not the country I want to fucking live in. I refuse.
I'm not gonna lie, majority of people in this country don't even have the will to live right now.
Well, tough titty. Because guess what? You have a privilege to not want to live. Because in other countries right now, whether it's
they don't have a choice.
Iran, whether it's because listen, there are civilians in the country of Israel who do not want this war. There are civilians in the country of Israel who are against their government being an apartheid state. So those people, civilians in Lebanon, civilians in Gaza, which are all civilians in the West Bank. You have civilians in Dubai. We have a fraternity brother and a sorority sister in Dubai who are now at risk because of this fucking war of aggression. Every other Gulf state, because Iran, in their retaliation towards Israel, America, and its backers, are bombing out of self-defense and basically saying, if you try to take us out, we're going to take everybody out in the Middle East. Because again, a lot of the Gulf state countries are invested with America and wrongly believe if Iran is taken out the picture, they have a higher standing in the region. We are the fucking bad guys. And it's sickening. And if you don't feel sick every day, you're not paying attention, brother. You're not paying attention, sister. You're not paying attention, white people, because let me stop. Okay. Yeah.
Because you just mentioned those a couple of the Middle Eastern countries like Dubai and Saudi. Well, you just mentioned Dubai, but how I think, and maybe I'm a little bit too far off with this one, but I think that I don't have much sympathy for the countries that are now powerhouses, or not even powerhouses, but are doing well built on slave labor, especially modern day slave labor. So like that goes for Dubai, Saudi, and UAE, right? Like I don't, if something happens to them during this world war, tough titty. Of course I don't want the people themselves to be, but like if the overall structure of those countries got fucked up because of this, it's probably because they built their countries on slave labor.
So I understand the sentiment 100%. People aren't their governments. So on this podcast, we are never advocating for or projecting violence towards civilians of any country. You know, like I am no war. If you niggas think that one country should kill another, hey, let's do this how they used to do it back in the medieval times. Take your king and take his king, and y'all can throw a knife in the middle of the ring of fire, and y'all can fight over it. You know, like you're not going to send my grandson, you're not going to send my son, you're not going to send my daughter to war. Okay, that's just first and foremost. So,
Jabari, they might send you. They just raised the draft age to 42. They might send you. You talk about
Beyonce. If you think for a fact a letter in the mail telling me that I need to go show up to barracks on Tuesday is getting me to show up to barracks on Tuesday, you are far mistaken. I will be either in Mexico City or I will be in Ontario by noon. Like,
they got us fucked up. I
have a nursing degree. Countries want me, nigga. Like I'm gone, bro.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. I just wanted to put that out on the pod because that just came out today or yesterday, I think. So like, crazy.
But okay, wait. Let's go on a tangent.
I'm sorry. Maybe I just want to clarify. Females are not part of the draft. Is that correct?
They are. They're going to be. But so because
that's not what I asked. Thank you. Okay, bitch. Talking about they are, nigga. Mind your fucking business. Okay, you can't make life, therefore yours is not valuable. You see what I say? That's how that goes. I'm joking. We all understand biology, Jabari. Thank you.
Yeah,
so we could probably make sperm at this point.
I can't carry life, but you need some.
We can make sperm at this point. It's probably better quality. Anyway.
Ew.
Yeah, for majority of the niggas out here.
What? Yeah. Okay. Look, I'm not like these other niggas. I don't be considering myself of the same species as some of these niggas.
You could, and yet you called them friend. Look at that.
What? See, you be trying to. You like Drake. You be fucking sneaking in there like we be on a song together. We be on a song together, and you go sneak my niggas while we on the same song. Now you got my niggas looking at me like, you gonna let her do that to me? I'm like, I'm gonna keep it a band. I didn't know it was coming.
Like, you and your little friends. You and all your little friends. Like that.
But wait,
I'm a Southern girl now. Jay, you know this.
I want to go on a tangent though about the draft and ask you guys a question that I've heard recently.
I just want to be very fucking clear. I will never, never, ever fight for this fucking country. I would literally join the military, infiltrate it, and shoot. No, let me not say that, but yeah.
You ready for this? You ready for this? No, I'm gonna go. Fuck, because nothing matters.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, correct.
I would.
At that point,
I would.
I'm sacrificing my life for the sake of the good of the people. Because I mean, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. So,
Listen, government, you're listening? Fuck it. There is a greater chance of me joining Hamas than there is me fighting
Hezbollah.
for
I
this
call
fucking
Hezbollah
military.
like shit. Nigga,
Yeah,
what?
like
I'll
what?
join goddamn the Boko Haram before I join the United
What? Like,
Say,
States.
yeah, we
what
just gonna
the
fucking
fuck
take
you
it there.
talking
Might as
about?
well.
That nigga raping children. You want me to go die for that
Right.
nigga? Oh my
No real
god,
shit,
Right.
man.
miss me with that
I
No,
bullshit.
will have to sit
insane.
my ass down in jail before I fucking fight for a pedophile ass nigga like Trump
Correct.
and his
Correct. Are
ass.
you
Like
fucking
fuck that.
dumb? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah, fuck that.
But
For that man to be doing and saying anything, putting my life on the line? Absolutely
As
not.
a once famous author once said, I will sell crack before I serve this community. I will serve crack before I serve this country.
No,
That
dead ass. I told somebody the other day, I said, I'd rather pick goddamn cotton.
oh my
I laid it
god,
with my bare hands, too.
stupid, stupid, yo.
There's a whole bunch of shit I'd rather do than fight for fucking the
Oh my,
United
I'd
States.
rather pick
they do
First of
got
cotton
all,
shit.
calling
than
it the
pick up a
United States
gun.
is the biggest, like, hyper. United on what? What the fuck are we united about as in the state? Please.
Okay, but here's something I wanted to bring up. So one of the opinions I've heard that I've kind of agreed with is the way Americans are able to go about their lives on a day to day basis, because while their country commits atrocities across the world, is because of how far removed we are, both geographically speaking as well as economically speaking, right? Because this war in Iran has basically resulted in the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is causing gas prices as well as other commodities such as fertilizer, to be upheld. And we're seeing rises in the cost of living for a variety of different products. Americans are starting to feel the economic consequences of the war, but still, because geographically speaking, we're far enough away as at this point in time that we're not worried about being blown up while we're at work. A lot of Americans can
This,
compartmentalize
yeah.
what's happening, right? One of the ways that this commentator said we could change that in a big way tomorrow is by implementing a draft and implementing it to the point where it's like, yeah, no, everybody, including the children, and so two ways, right? So you implement the draft, right? Basically saying if our country agrees to go to fucking war, everybody is at risk of being enlisted to go to the war. Because what? Because if the idea of war is that it's an existential crisis, why wouldn't you want to go, right? That was the idea of World War II. Like everybody was willing to fucking sign up and join, including marginalized people like Black, Brown, and Hispanic people, because if the Nazis won,
It was a group problem, yeah.
it was going to be over for all of us, right? So that would be
Makes
the
sense.
idea. So that would be the idea. You would be more. You will make a more concerted effort to make sure your country doesn't go to or doesn't commit wars of atrocity, wars of aggression, if there was a chance that you would. There was a knowing that you would be going to war most likely, right? Or you would have to fight in the war most likely. Additionally, there is a higher requirement for members that hold office. If we go to war, one of your
You need to
children,
be the, yeah.
one of your children, or you need to enlist into the military force,
Mulan like shit.
and you can't, and that enlisting, you're not going to be like with the generals in the back, nigga. You on the front lines. Like
Correct.
if it's that important, send Baron. Okay, like
But remember, what we often do not address is the fact that like they may even agree to that because politicians, as much as we give them credit, are still just the pawns of the billionaire class.
no, I agree. I agree. I'm just saying, aside from the this would be in a more just society, right? Of course,
And that, and then, and back in the day, our presidents were ex members of the military.
yeah, George Washington led the was it the Intercontinental Army or whatever. But all that to say, all that to fucking say.
You didn't have to go back to George Washington, but yeah. even more recent niggas that was in the military. Stupid. Talking about you
No, I
London.
feel like he was the last one. If we've been honest, I think who was it like? Who was it? Harold Cleveland or some one of them niggas. Like, but really, George
Imagine,
Washington was like the only one to be
you've been the
active.
president and nobody knows your name.
Yeah.
If you said that, I say, who the fuck is that?
They gonna forget about Joe Biden.
I agree.
Joseph, no, they won't. He fell way
They
too many
gonna
times for us to
Joe
forget.
Biden's gonna be known as the president in between
The
Trump.
sleepy grandpa. The sleepy
It's gonna
grandpa.
go. We had our first black president, Barack Hussein Obama, brought
Sam
brought
Obama.
8 years of just a general feeling of America on top. Immediately followed by a racist, pedophile, fraudster, white supremacist president that the Americas got tired of for 4 years, voted for this nigga, and then Joe Biden, he was gone. But then immediately voted for that nigga again, right? Like, he's like, Joe Biden's presidency is a blip in the story of Donald J. Trump. But no, so I feel like that level of reciprocity and responsibility for the American people is required because because again, like, I feel like walking through the world with an understanding, or walking through our country with an understanding of the world, gives you a higher level of stress, yes, but I think also freedom of thought, so that when your fellow citizens who are not concerned with what's going on kind of bitch and complain about shit, you can literally look at them and be like, the fuck are you talking about, bro? We're literally destroying lives across the country right now. Text the nigga back. What the fuck are you talking about? We're literally genocide, or paying for the genocide of a group of people right now. Quit your job. Go off for the next shit. Like, it's like a lot of things people commiserate about is a privilege that can only be had in a country that is so far away from fucking consequences, bro. And I'm not even sitting here saying I want niggas to have to experience those consequences. You know, if I was president, that $200 billion they're asking for to commit this war would be going straight back into the populace to nationalize healthcare, to fucking fix all these potholes, to give niggas stabilized rental opportunities and grants. You know what I'm saying?
Jabari Terrell 2028, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
More like 2045. You know, like it's some years away. I got stuff I still got to do, but
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
but all that's to say, man, it's quite disgusting what we're doing. And I don't know if we've hit every topic. You know, we're not going to go into the Strait of Hormuz. Like, again, we are not primary sources for this information. We're just concerned citizens. And I implore everybody who's listening to this and kind of getting information from us as a primary source, go watch any online news broadcasts like Breaking Points, Secular Talk, The Majority Report. These are great news sources. They have individuals from the Bush administration, from the Obama administration, from the Biden administration, and even now the Trump administration, who have left the Trump administration, who are coming on and explaining this war and breaking it down in very educated, concise, fourth grade understanding levels. And it is imperative that you figure this out now, because this is going to be, I think, a defining moment in our country if we can, quote unquote, take it back. Because right now, our identity on the world stage is tarnished to the point that I think without direct consequences, we can never get it back, right? So here's where we're at right now, because I was actually talking to one of my older coworkers last night who was basically asking me for an update. So right now, we're at the whim of Iran's aggression, because what we have found out is that our military is outdated to fight this war that we're at. Currently, we are in a missile war where Iran is sending out drones that cost about $7,000 to $20,000, as well as some of their older hardware to try to break through the military defense systems of the Gulf nations and Israel. The Gulf nations, some of them, and Israel specifically, have a missile defense system that uses interceptors that cost about $1 million each to make. Over the last 3 weeks, it has been quite clear that these interceptors not only have been failing to prevent damage to these countries, but they're also running low on stockpiles. And we can basically think that from the many times that America has already come out and been like, hey guys, let's do a ceasefire. And Iran's like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Because why would they? And we're starting, there's a media blackout in Israel, but through online leaks, we're starting to see more and more of the city of Jerusalem and other areas in Israel take damage, as well as the horrific.
I think Netanyahu is dead. By the way,
No, he's alive. I think he just came out. He just came out and had like a press conference. Unfortunately,
did he?
Yeah. Like because they did the video where he was in the coffee shop, but then he just came out again. There's another thing, and that was where it sparked all the is he dead comments. And basically, so what I'm saying is right now, where we're at is Iran, as many people have already predicted, or they told the Trump administration and they ignored, has shown to be a military force quite capable of dragging a war of attrition along for many, many, many months. Somebody was saying that their stockpiles probably, at this point, if they had to make an estimate, are going to last at least the next, if they had no replenishment of arms, 18 to 24 years, or 24 months, sorry. And so basically where we're at is the U.S. stockpile of interceptors is running low. So there was speculation that the Trump administration wanting to have a ceasefire was so that they could replenish their stock arms. Of course, Iran's like, fuck that. Why would we do that? We're not stupid. So they're continuing to go. So people smarter than me have said Trump has 3 options, okay? And it's kind of scary. The first option would be to stop now, right? To lie to his supporters, to lie to the world, and say, hey, we did what we needed to do. It was a victory. We're out. The problem with that is that Iran's not going to stop striking Israel. They might stop striking the Gulf states, but they'll stop striking Israel. Or they'll continue to strike Israel, which is well within their right. They are the defending nation in this country. Okay.
They said that they won't strike any more Gulf states. They said we won't strike any more Gulf states that are allies with the U.S. if the U.S. stops attacking us.
And again, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, then wouldn't that make Iran the aggressor? No. Remember, this war was started by America and Israel. This tension and aggression towards Iran has been going on for decades. Okay, we replaced their leaders before. We put in our own puppet dictator of a Shah that traumatized millions of Iranians.
If I may, let me just jump in real fast to break down how smart or how strategic Iran is. Going back to, again, what me and Donica were talking about. When a bully tells you they're coming and the guy on the playground just brings that sock full of batteries or full of rocks that they've been collecting for 20 decades, right? That goes directly to the defense system, but they're employing an even better military strategy, right? They're showing these Gulf states, these Middle Eastern states or allies of the U.S. that, hey, the U.S. really ain't your friend. Because we gonna bomb y'all city, and we're not even bombing anywhere that's like gonna hinder your structural integrity of your countries, but we're bombing y'all to show that the U.S. ain't gonna do shit about it. The U.S. been paying y'all lip service. The U.S. been saying we got your back whole time. We're bombing y'all, and the U.S. ain't doing shit about it. The U.S. not deploying troops to protect y'all. The U.S. isn't doing interballistic missiles to protect you. The U.S. not doing anything. So guess what? Even after this war, the U.S.'s relationship with these Gulf countries are going to be irreparably damaged. And
I mean, the Gulf countries
strategy.
the Gulf countries are already fucked because their whole revenue model they're trying to move away from is from oil to tourism. And who the fuck's gonna want to go to Dubai when you could be fucking bombed at any point based
Yep.
off of not the Iran instability, but the country of Israel and the country of the United States is what do you call it? Instability. But all that to say again, so there's three options Trump can take now. The first one is to say it's over, withdraw. Iran is going to continue striking Israel because right now Iran is facing an existential threat, and so what they're trying to do is showcase their military might and make it clearly understood to America and Israel, stop fucking with us, right? Probably not going to do that because Trump has he doesn't have a humble bone in his body. He doesn't have the ability to be introspective. His ego is far too big. And he's also probably mentally declined to the point that he really doesn't even know what's going on 50% of the day, right? Second option, escalate further with boots on the ground. And unfortunately, it does seem to be the direction we're going in, right? There's a few different ways that this would result, whether it's boots on the ground on this island called Karg Island, which is very important towards oil distribution from the Iran state, whether it's boots on the ground on any other surrounding islands or boots on the ground on the actual country of Iran. All three of these options would be very detrimental to American soldiers' lives. A lot of people smarter than me are saying how it would look would be boots on the ground. Soldiers get there first day, realize that there's not much infrastructure there, and then all of a sudden, all you're hearing is of a
That's
thousand drones coming in and just blowing the fuck
Iran's going
out.
to let them put boots on the ground. No attacks, no nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to close up every entry point, right? Because Iran is strategically positioned, right, with the Strait of Hormuz,
Mm-hmm.
as well as positioned around their allies. Russia is literally right next door to Iran, right? So there is no way that you're going to have any entry points to Iran outside of where Iran lets you enter. And once they do, they're going to close that. They're going to create a choke point. The military tactics word is called a choke point. And they're going to funnel in all of the troops, American troops, to their death from airplanes, from military missiles, from drones, because there's not going to be any way for them to leave. And it's going to be a very bloody situation for our troops that I pray Trump does not put our troops in this position.
Facts. The third option is this: you drop nukes. Because the craziest idiosyncrasy of this entire war is that all the talk about an unstable regime getting nuclear weapons in the Middle East has already come true because the country of Israel has nuclear weapons. The country that has bombed 7 countries last year, has bombed at least 4 countries this year, has nuclear weapons. And while I would hope the possibility of a nuclear bombardment from the perspective of Israel or America is very low, people smarter than me have put it at 50%. So that's where we're at, okay? We have already spent, according to certain sources, $93.6 billion on this war. Some have estimated lost maybe 500 soldiers. I'm not sure. They're only reporting about 15, 20 soldiers. We've seen mysterious fires happen on aircraft carriers, and they said that was a kitchen fire. Some people, other countries are saying, nah, we bombed that shit. We have already been denied help from the rest of the world. Japan, France, Italy have all been like, go fuck yourself. The UK is the only country that's been kind of like, I mean, we might send a naval ship, but, they're also experiencing their own pushes towards authoritarianism and right-wing fascism. But all that to say, we are a mockery on the world stage. And with every day this presses on, the push towards a worse economic downturn that we haven't seen since the likes of the 70s is becoming not more coincidental, but more of a fact. Just how long will it be? So yeah, that's where we're at. What do? We commiserated. We're all probably sad now. We're all probably anxious now. What do? Right? Here are our actionable steps. You continue to advocate for things different, because many of your American brothers and sisters have no idea what's going on. Are watching Fox News, are watching CNN, are watching MS Now, and all of those news channels are, as Jay said, follow the money, owned by corporations or individuals who have already pledged allegiance to the Trump regime. So continue spreading the stories, spreading the videos, and spreading the advocacy to keep people in the loop, because our
How do we
next
get more
action.
dangerous? Fuck all that. How do we get more dangerous? Okay.
Listen. You guys,
I'm enough advocacy, enough all that. I'm looking up. I'm sitting here and I'm like, we've got
listen. I'm gonna tell you right now.
no. Wait. There's three of us on this call. Okay.
I'm gonna tell
Three
you
of
right
us who
now,
are
Donnie.
highly educated individuals. Yes, I see it. Highly educated individuals. And I just feel like if either we're staying and we're fighting or we're getting the fuck. So right now, we all have things to, not things to lose, but like we have things to get, gain by not leaving, and things to protect. So it's like, what are we actually doing? Because at the end of the
What
day,
we're doing.
people go into politics to make a change, and then I do think, like, as much as it's like say no to such and such's money and do this and do that, like those are all theoretical options. Like I feel like this is like I've probably been saying this as long as we've talked about politics on the podcast. Like, I genuinely feel like trying to work within a system that is literally evil is insane.
I hear you.
And I personally can say that I have not done enough research to look and see what countries who have had to like literally throw it in the trash and start over have done. I'm too busy learning how to save lives. That's going to be where I can contribute. Um, so yeah, if like anybody has like knowledge about that, like if that's your like field, I think all the commenting and discussing is important. Spreading information is important, but like for people, especially like I immigrated to the US, and as I was a child, I had no consciousness of most things. But I think if I was an adult at the time that was considering immigrating, I would have known what the fuck it was and probably would not have chosen this country. Like America didn't start America-ing like this yesterday. This is just who America. If America was a person, like this is standard behavior. America's that toxic ass motherfucker you keep going back to, thinking that he gonna be different. Ain't shit changed with the face, And I think it's very like frustrating. And for someone like me, my immediate thought is I could just immigrate my ass out of here. But I have
But
like family and
unfortunately,
friends here now, and I owe this country money apparently. Like that's
yeah.
crazy.
But unfortunately, here's the thing about that: immigrating outside of America does not protect you from America. So we have no other choice but to fight here. And what I'm saying is this, and just hear me out.
Correct.
Here's my actionable steps, because unless you are radicalized to the point where you're ready to fight this fascist violence with anti-fascist activities, which are not completely anti-violent, because as I just showed you the book I'm reading, you can't fight fascist violence with non-violent activities. Like when you had
I would ever
different.
gave anybody the impression that I was nonviolent.
No. But what I'm saying is, you also
I
have to
think
be
violence is
pragmatic.
worse.
You have to be pragmatic about what your role in anti-fascist and anti-fascist actions are, because you have a skill set right now that might be, in my opinion, better employed in disseminating free healthcare. Maybe sacrificing a day to do certain things than you going out and blowing up data center. Now, if you're, again,
I'm just saying,
I'm not. Well, hold up.
somebody needs to be doing both.
And what I'm saying, Donica, is people are like, that's the thing. That's the beautiful part about this, and this is why we need to continue advocacy, right? There are still people in Minnesota right now actively on the ground using anti-fascist community organizing strategies to get data centers not built in their cities, to continue protecting the migrants in their areas, to honestly graffiti whenever I ride through the city and I see fuck ice, or I see from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, death to the IDF, like that is grassroots anti-fascist action, because you know what's happening at the same time? Somebody's trying to cover up that wall in the name of capitalism and trying to not ruffle feathers and continue basically continuing to work in the system, right? It's very stratified, but for people who are looking for an entryway to resisting in a way that doesn't maybe disrupt their ability to survive, right? Because you losing your job based off of a quote unquote criminal action is not going to do the movement any good, right? So again, it's advocating, it's making people aware, because we have one shot. Like, it's just like Marvel's Avengers Endgame, one shot in 2026 to get the House and the United States Senate overturned blue. And based off of the conversation we haven't had yet, but one that is starting to become very apparent, people are waking up to the fact that we need more genuine politicians who are younger and ready to fight the push towards fascism that we're currently seeing in this country, right?
Why was you talking about some 2045? Like, nigga, what?
Oh no, he was talking about me running for president. What I'm saying
Oh,
is
okay.
2026.
When you gonna start sooner? Like, what you gonna be like the rich man got a mayor? The mayor?
So I think sidebar. I definitely do think becoming an MP, getting into Richmond, and starting to disseminate healthcare and like doing starting things I want to do is a great starting point for getting into politics. I feel like we need more people who want to be in politics that are coming from communities, regular citizens, people who've been working, like, again, like if you've been working as a teacher, if you've been working as a nurse, if you've been working as a doctor, if you've been working as a auto shop's manager in like a small town, or like you're in one of these smaller cities or even larger cities, the idea of you getting into government probably seems foreign, but we need more people like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get individuals like Zohran Mamdani, or I forget her last name, but she basically just lost the Democratic primary in Illinois. But first name was Kat. She was this young white girl who was very, very outspoken on both anti-genocidal policy, but anti-ICE policy, anti-corruption policy, and basically AIPAC funded the candidate she was fighting, and she narrowly lost. But all that to say is, we need more politicians who come from regular life and who are regular people, okay? No more think tank politicians. No more ivory tower politicians who have never touched grass and touched the people to really know what is happening on a day-to-day life. So yeah, for me, if I ever am going to go into politics, it's going to start probably on a very local level after I've been living in a community long enough to know what issues need to be tackled in that community. No more politicians who are just fucking looking for glory, okay? But all that to say, 2026, it is imperative that the Democrats win both back the House and the Senate, because I think the only way we can end the Iran war, that we can show Iran, that we can show the Gulf states, that we can show fucking Israel that we mean business, our word means something, is if we show we are willing to push consequences on those highest in power. So what that means is 2026, Democrats have to take back the House and Senate, have to impeach Trump, have to arrest him, have to impeach Marco Rubio, have to arrest him, have to impeach, or actually just arrest Kristi Noem now, because that bitch is already outside the fucking government, but put Pam Bondi in jail for contempt. Like, if we do not start showing on the world stage we mean serious business, nobody is going to take us seriously. Tim Dillon just had a very fucking funny segment where he basically said, if you're an American right now and you're fucking world traveling, you're trying to go to Italy, you're trying to go to France, you're trying to go to some other country, and you're not prepared to have hard conversations with individuals of other countries, you should probably stay the fuck home, because right now you are basically living in Nazi fucking Germany. Okay? This is slowly but surely turning into a conflict that is starting to resemble World War III. China and Russia are backing Iran. We are backing Israel. What's next, guys? We drop nukes. You don't think what the fuck are we talking about? We're in World War III. So yeah, we have to start.
We're not just
So
backing Israel. Israel's controlling us.
yeah. Listen. No, let me stop. Well, basically, again, so actionable steps. We are continuing to advocate. We're continuing to spread the word. We are making sure we're ready to vote. We're making sure we're ready to get sure our friends are voting, because right now, with the current push for the SAVE Act, there's a good chance that if they get that shit passed, they're going to disenfranchise so many people. So it's more imperative that everybody fucking votes. Okay, I don't give a fuck how meaningless you think it is. You get one shot. One fucking shot.
Hey guys, remember that time Jabari didn't vote?
Okay. And then lastly, I really implore people to start looking up anti-fascist resistance policy, because it has been alive and
Can
well.
you create like a guide about it for the people that don't want to do that?
Create a what?
Do you like make a post about it?
Yeah, sure. But basically it's this.
You know, something that you could text me and I could text it to my friends. You know, you don't have to put it on social media. But we need to learn how to spread information in other ways.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm literally, this chapter in the book I'm reading is big. But what I'm saying is this: start thinking about anti-fascism in the literal name, as the literal name describes. It is resistance towards fascism. So whenever you see somebody fucking talk, so you're at the job and you're talking with a coworker, and that coworker might use a slur, and you correct them and be like, "That's fucking racist." You're being anti-fascist. You're fighting against fascism. You know, every time you vote correctly to protect the rights of another person, you're moving an anti-fascist policy. Every time you boycott a company because they start doing some crazy fucking policy, or they start like removing DEI because all of a sudden
like it's fuck Target forever. Yeah,
that's working in anti-fascism. But then again. But then,
I'm starting to see Target ads now because it's been so long since I shopped there.
That there's been a rollback of AI and AI integration. Open Sora, the little AI slot machine, that's being defunded in a sense. A lot of the funds that were being used are now being walked back. Disney is also divesting in a way from AI, and there were reports of over I want to say 200 million that was invested that they're now walking back to. So that gives me hope, Jabari, right? As far as people speaking up, when the Ring app was showing surveillance or showing that their phone cameras could be turned into surveillance at any point in time, people were outraged, and Ring had to release a statement saying, "Well, just JK, y'all, we aren't doing that." So I do. Those are just like literal examples that just happened, in the past couple months. So
yeah, it's fucking Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's exactly
what happened at the Super Bowl.
It works.
The Ring camera commercials we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, it works.
Okay.
I didn't watch the Super Bowl because I don't support the NFL.
Lastly, the other thing you need to understand about anti-fascist programs, what anti-fascism is. It is at some point most likely going to be inherently violent, because when the fascist is at your door, when the fascist is coming in and saying, "I don't give a fuck if you're a U.S. citizen or if you're an immigrant, we're taking you to this detention center in another state, and we might disappear you from your family, or we might take your daughter, disappear you from her, and she might pop up pregnant in the next 4 months after being in an all-women's ICE detention facility," the only way you can fight that is with violence. Because history only remembers two types of people. Okay? Those who murder and those who fight back. And right now, we are living under a state who is, instead of paying TSA agents so that you don't have a 6-hour long line to go through security check, they are paying Gestapo agents to stand around and pick out brown and black migrants who are, I don't know, maybe trying to leave the country and send them to a detention center. That's where we're gotten to. Like, it's gotten so dystopian already that if you're not paying attention, you're going to wake up one day and realize you live in Nazi Germany and they're at your door and you can't fly anywhere because the airports are being identified by ICE agents and nobody in the world gives a fuck because we've alienated all of our allies. It's getting real scary, guys. It's getting real scary. But we got one shot, one opportunity. Okay? And I believe we won't fuck it up.
That's the rest of the world.
Now, again, if a Democratic politician has found their way to this broadcast and you're trying to figure out what you need to do, no, he's good. He's that nigga's good. He ain't really made a misstep yet, in my opinion. But no, this is to incumbents. Those are the niggas who might not be on
he's a human being,
trial
and he's rich
in 2026. You need to understand that the people you are governing are not stupid. Okay? The people you are governing are able to care about more than one issue and are able to credibly link how issues are linked, right? For example, you can't keep going, oh, the only thing people care about is affordability or cost of living. People don't give a fuck about national policy or foreign policy. It's just not true. We know now from the autopsy of Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, what lost the election was her stance on Israel and Gaza. Simple as that. Do I wish younger people would have been more pragmatic and voted for anyways? Sure. But what would have been the harm of you saying, I'm not going to collaborate with a genocidal state? Like, why is there more responsibility placed on voters who just genuinely want to see somebody represent their ideals in totality than the person in power who, when you really weigh what the options were, morally speaking and economically speaking, politically speaking, it would have made more sense for you not to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Similarly, the Texas state primaries for Senate, we saw Jasmine Crockett lose her Senate bid to James Tallarico. And actually, I'm on Threads now, so you can follow me on there. I had a tweet that popped off on Threads because of my stance or my opinion on that election. And basically, my opinion, I will say it now, just so you guys know what it was, and I can kind of more explain myself, so that people might get a better sense of where the fuck I'm coming from. Oh, hold up, let me get by, because I have to get through all these shits about Okay, so I said Jasmine Crockett not disavowing AIPAC is the reason she did not win, right? Had a bunch of people in my mentions agreeing, had a bunch of people in my mentions basically saying, well, James Tallarico, and like, again, all I was saying was that her not getting up on that stage after having the internet for months expose how she did get donations from AIPAC. Maybe it wasn't directly, maybe it was through some bundles, but yeah, she got money from AIPAC, $86,000. But also would not come out unilaterally and make it a piece of her public platform that she does not stand with Israel. She does not give a fuck about their right to defend themselves when they're a genocidal state, and she won't be taking any AIPAC money further. Maybe, in fact, she'll pay back the money. If she would have done that, boom, There was also some problems with her comments about ICE. Okay, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm simply sticking with my tweet. And basically, what I'm saying to all people trying to win a Democratic election, these are easy, easy dunk points, okay? Because for us who are educated, who are concerned, who are in the know, this is an easy checklist. Boom. Does she take APAC money? No. Oh, like that. Boom. She doesn't fuck with Israel? Oh, like that. Because you know what that represents to a lot of us sitting here in America, as Javiante explained, you're probably against cop cities. You're probably against racism and apartheid states. You're probably against spending money on useless wars. Like a lot of these opinions represent levels of genuine morality that can't be disguised through political jargon and politician speak. You know what I'm saying? It is a
I have a
simple.
question though. Is America
Yeah.
prepared for the reality of the country would have to become in order to like function under this idealistic goal that we have, right? Like we are not a superpower by accident or a superpower by force. And
Mm-hmm.
to prioritize the people, not display excessive force, would be to like offer a different value to the rest of the world. And like, what is that? You know, like right
I got your
now,
answer. And this is where
America sells. It's like America sells America. Like it's the brand. You know what I mean? It's even down to there's a whole fucking war that's happening and none of us are affected. We wake up, do everything that we want to do, including going about our business internationally to some degree. That's the brand. Like that luxury that you have of, oh, my country got it, is what America like. It looks different now, I think, for us because we're very like hyper aware and we've just lived in the most traumatizing fucking generation ever. But it's like this is the superpower part of being a superpower. So I'm just curious about that because it goes, and I think not even just curious, I'm skeptical because in opportunities in which there's a hierarchy, right? So like they don't even it's all about the hierarchy. We don't even take care of like Americans, much
so
less,
yeah. So to
you know, do you
combat
get?
so to combat your skepticism, no, I completely understand your level of skepticism, a little bit of nihilism, and kind of just a pessimism. I feel that daily when I speak to people, and they clearly have no fucking idea what's going on.
Nigga, I
And
didn't ask you to diagnose me. Answer the fucking question. Talking about pessimism, nihilism.
I am
I don't
sorry,
care about your ism.
being long winded, and basically what I'm saying is this:
It's called presenting an
yes,
alternative.
you can be helpful, but I raise the statement that there is no other option. You need
What are you
to
talking
believe
about?
we
That was
can
not my
be better.
question. Stop. That was not my question.
I listen.
My question
Let
was,
me land the plane.
what
No, listen.
does
I heard your
what
question.
is the U.S. going to offer if not aggression? Thank you.
I'm I'm literally going to answer your question. But what I'm saying is, even if you can't yourself come up with the answer, you have to believe there is one because there's no other option. We need to keep a
I'm
sense of
posing the
radical
question.
optimism.
I'm
Please
not
let me
being
finish. Let me land. I'm
not
about to get there.
optimistic
Stop it.
though.
Let me land.
You're not
Stop.
going
Let
anywhere.
me land the fucking point. What I'm saying is this: we
Don't
need to
cuss at
have
me.
radical optimism. We need to have radical optimism when it comes to thinking about these things.
Oh,
Because
you told me
I've thought
to.
about these things. My shit is this: we immediately, we immediately stop looking at the world in an imperialistic manner, right? We go back to soft power, but we do it in a more genuine way. And how will we do that, right? We immediately disinvest all of this money we keep putting into our military and strictly think about defense from a continental perspective. And then all of that money that we can't budget, okay, because it's so wrapped up in this military industrial complex of contractors, of weapons manufacturers, of selling weapons to our perceived enemies that then become our allies, or allies that then become our enemies as we try to topple regimes for whatever capitalistic regime means. And we immediately nationalize the healthcare system. We focus on our aging population. We focus on curing chronic diseases that we know about. We focus on tackling the mental health and drug epidemics we have going throughout our country, because this is going to take a lot of money and a lot of manpower, right? And I can get into a great depth about this because I have a lot of ideas. Like, one of them is the fact that we have individuals right now who currently live in society where you would be like, you'll look at this patient and say, this nigga needs a buddy 24/7. I don't know how long he's going to need that buddy, but he needs somebody that's just with him 24/7. You cannot take care of yourself. Whether it's because of drug use, whether it's because you are a high functioning autistic individual who lost their parents now and you're 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a direct need for us to get back to taking care of each other that I think with all the fucking money we have in this country, we could achieve, right? We need more people as
I like
nurses. We need more
this.
people as doctors. We need more people as techs. We need more people as x-ray techs. We need more people who are researching drugs. We need more taking care of the whole individual. We stop looking at ourselves as a world power because we are the mightiest. We start looking at ourselves as a world power because we have the most we have a government that is secular, right? We're not looking,
Because we
quote
use our
unquote, to God to
resources
solve the problem.
appropriately. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I mean
I
when it's
like
like
your
there
answers.
is a future where we do this different. We just have to keep, and in my opinion, telling people about this. This is what I did. This is how I kind of end all of my conversations with people now, is that, bro, I'm 32. All right. I've lived through enough of this world and this country to understand none of us really have it figured out. We're all just trying shit, right? And because of that, you have a large percentage of Americans who grew up indoctrinated into capitalism at the benefit of themselves, fuck anybody else, and they now go and join jobs where they don't fucking enjoy it. They actively harm people, and the only way that they can make themselves numb is by drug use and by excessive lifestyles, to the point where you have people in New York making a lot of people in New York who make like upwards of $500,000 a year and are living paycheck to paycheck, right? Like, it's like we live in such a fucked perspective society that what I'm basically telling people is, hey guys, we're the adults. I'm the adult now. Who's to say my opinion on the direction that we should take this country is wrong or is radical? In fact, who better to start dictating what direction our country should be in than the people who have been at the mercy of this country since its inception? The problems that are going to solve, or the answers that are going to solve the problems faced by the citizens of this country are not.
We'll never find out.
Am I back? Yeah, no, somebody fucking tried to call me. Jesus Christ. But either way, what I'm saying is the
And that's how
problem
Jabari was
of our
silenced.
society. Right, right, right. But the problems of our society aren't going to be solved by the
You
people
heard
up
how
top,
nervous he was just now.
because the people up top don't face those problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, we
Mhm.
are ran by individuals who live in a fictional version of society. Our fucking members of Congress have universal health care. The president made $4 billion this past presidency. We are currently having people throw hundreds of thousands of dollars at elections every year to make sure their idea of the country should be implemented. So what I'm saying is the way that what I'm saying is there is a future where America looks drastically different. And again, the Americans who unfortunately just will never have the capacity to really understand these topics to a higher degree will live better lives for it. And I think maybe they might not ever know the direct reasons. And that's where we continue educating, we continue fixing our education system. You know what I'm saying? Like, even that, right? What if what if there was a world where we're we're a secular country, to the point where we're not allowing missionaries from our country to go and spread the word of Christianity, to other countries, but we're missionary in the educational sense. Like, hey, you have a country that just started to learn
No, we'll teach you
thermonuclear
English.
dynamics. We're gonna
It's
send
going to be through the Bible.
we're gonna no, fuck that. We're gonna send our branch from Cincinnati to go help you guys get to this point, because we know if we get you on a more eco-friendly energy system, it saves the planet for all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, like the ideas that we or the ideas, think bigger, basically is what I'm saying. It's you
I told you
probably
I
in
wasn't
your
thinking.
mind because you face
Posed a question,
no,
but
no, I'm talking to listeners. Not just you, because Donica, because I'm telling you the beauty about your
I'm glad.
existence. You face so many problems of America having the intersectional identity that you have: a black woman, an immigrant woman, an Indian woman, a woman who speaks multiple languages, and you have carved a space out for yourself where you're now able to feel fulfilled in what you do, get back to your community, as well as live a lifestyle that brings you joy. Right? You are the imagination of some child in an underserved area of America, living it, showing them that it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what ideas you'll come up with in the future based off of the fact of your identity and your specific position in America. There are people right now who are also immigrants, who are also black, who are also maybe have biracial identities, but because of where they stand in society and the schools that they got to go to, because of the way we delegate education here, will never have your ideas because they've never faced the problems you faced. You know?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is that radical idea you have in your mind that you think could never happen or might even be stupid, start talking about it actually, because there's a
No, you actually,
there's
like
a
you said, it's not
possibility
even a
that it
radical idea. You literally already said it. I'm like, why? Like, we all have free time. Like, everybody should be volunteering. Like, if you're a medical professional, you should be volunteering. Like, to help run some sort of clinic because we're first of all, it'll make your regular job a lot easier. But anyway, that's a whole separate point. I've been wanting to do that anyway with my free time. There's also it reminded me of this organization that a PA runs where he teaches some classes in the community, teach people CPR for like places where they drug use is high and overdose deaths from overdose is also high. Like stuff like that. Like
mm-hmm.
use
And listen,
it's definitely on my list
I
of
don't
things I
want to
want to
put,
do. I used to do that when I was in DC, but obviously not yet.
and that's personal movements for yourself, but I don't want to thrust the full burden of like trying to change the system on you, because again, we need macro level change to actually affect what we want to affect. So with that, I do believe also the advocacy part I was talking about before, with how do we use what are ways that you can fight fascism with anti-fascist tactics, is as a provider in healthcare, you talk to other providers who don't know your perspective, who are actively probably saying shit because they don't experience it. All right, peace out, bro. Appreciate you. Love you having on.
Love.
Uh, but basically, there's people who like will never, or they'll say asinine shit just because they think, because they came from a two-parent household or maybe a one-parent household in an area of the society where they faced little problems, that they pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And why can't everybody just do that? You know what I'm saying? It's good to give them perspective. The other day, and I'll give you an example. The other day, and it doesn't have to be confrontational, right? I was at the job and we had a white patient who was 93 years old, born in 1933. There were some awkward moments, right? Like she at like one point grabbed my arm and was like, "And we appreciate you, you know we do." You know what I'm saying? Just some shit where like I come out the room and I'm with one of my younger techs. She's 23. She's from Jersey, and she's like, "Oh, that was weird." And I was like, "Yeah, she was probably a racist back in the day, and then she forgot, and then she's got dementia, so she remembers it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's probably a lot going on from her perspective." And she kind of gave me a quizzical look, and I was like, you didn't see what year she was born, right? Like she's 93. You know what she lived through?" She kind of gave me another quizzical look, and I basically then took her on a slight memory journey of, she was born in 1933. That means she was in her like early teenage years when World War II happened. She was in her 30s when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 happened and integrated schools, all the way up until now, where we are currently regressing into racial policies. Like the idea that we've come so far in a short time the idea that I know you remember was being gaslit to us throughout the entire Obama presidency, throughout the entire early 2000s. Oh, we're so past racism. We're so past whatever liberals or conservatives wanted to fucking give us. Bro, we are so still connected to that generation because multiple of our politicians are in their 80s. Multiple of these politicians would have been yelling at Ruby Bridges when she was being escorted into school, the Little Rock Nine in Arkansas. Like, again, we've come a long way technological wise, but there is still a lot of evil that needs to be stamped out in this country because we have never punished racists. We have never punished fascists hard enough in this country. So I was simply given that lesson, given that experience to this nurse, or not nurse, but this tech, because then I said, once, so now that you know all this history, now that you can kind of, or now that you're reminded of this history, think about it this way. We have all these black patients over here who are experiencing some of the worst aspects of drug addiction or mental health crises that we've seen in America, right? A lot of these people are in their 50s. Some of them are in their 60s. Think about what they lived through, right? We know the Reagan administration put crack cocaine into communities. We know that redlining has prevented black Americans from experiencing the same economic opportunities as others. We know that black soldiers coming back from World War II didn't get the GI Bill in the same way, the Homestead Act, all this stuff. These people were alive through all of that. They experienced all of that. So when you have a black person experiencing psychosis and saying, oh, the government's out to get me, they're kind of not wrong. You know what I'm saying? They're going through it, and we're here to help them, and we're here hopefully to get them back on their feet. But the idea of the world we live in being not being terroristic towards all of us, but specifically marginalized groups in particular, is something that I think all healthcare providers need to be fully aware of, so that you can have the tank, you can have the emotional capacity to give a little bit more grace to these patients. You get what I'm saying, Donica?
I do.
Yeah. So that and literally that's how I interact, like, on a shiftly basis when I hear some fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily nigga, can you charge it so we can just get a few more topics in? Because I guess we're gonna keep it serious this episode. We'll get our health topic in, and then we can get out of here. Because we've been going for a minute, an hour and 30, and we don't want to keep it longer than an hour for sure, or 2 hours. But yeah, so big episode on the Iran war. I hope I gave you guys some power, some things to give you options of how you feel like you can resist and maybe feel a little bit better about your position, of your ability to make change in this world. Because I know it gets frustrating. I get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? But some other quick points to know about this war that I think are very important is that Polymarket, the betting app, saw $530 million in contracts tied to the Iran strikes since this war has begun. So people are making money off of this shit. Again, at this point, the Pentagon has already sent 2,500 Marines to Karg Island. They are about to send the 82nd Airborne to one of these islands, again, pushing us probably closer to what we believe to be boots on the ground. And then, last but not least, we are the bad guys in this war, and they are currently talking about dropping nukes. So please pay attention. Please go follow another coherent news station to keep updated on what's going on. The next thing I do want to talk about is the quote-unquote government shutdown we have going on. And this also ties into the DOGE depositions that have been released. They were scrubbed from the internet, but they're still around. I want you guys to go look at that. So first off, with the government shutdown right now, it's currently a partial shutdown that's happening with the Department of Homeland Security, right? The agency that Kristi Noem was running before she just got ousted. The Democrats do not want to fund the Department of Homeland Security in its entirety because of the way ICE has been used to terrorize American citizens. What the Democrats have proposed 8 times now is a bill to fund the other services of the DHS. That includes TSA, that includes FEMA, and anything that is actually beneficial to Americans. Democrats have set up 8 bills to try and pass funding for that. The Republicans have denied those bills based off of the whims of Donald Trump. We found out last week that Republicans and Democrats had come to a deal to fund TSA, but then Trump said, fuck that shit, no deals with Democrats until they pass the SAVE Act. The same act we were talking about earlier, which is a voter disenfranchisement act. So that's what's happening. The reason why you have a 6-hour wait line at the Newark airport, at JFK airport, is because Republicans and Donald Trump do not want to fund TSA workers specifically. ICE is already being funded. The big bullshit bill gave them a whole lot of money, and they're good to go for 2 years. Right now, if you want TSA to be funded, hit up all of your Republican congressmen and say your ass is grass, and there should be grass anyways, but their ass is definitely grass if you don't fucking vote for one of these funding bills. It is a Republican shutdown once again. That's that. I don't think I need to talk anymore about that. Just, I mean, again, you're waiting in line because of it, my nigga. That's that. Republicans suck. They own all 3 branches of government. Yeah, but again, Republicans have a majority in the Senate, have a majority in the House of Representatives. They have the presidency and Donald Trump, and they have the Supreme Court and a lot of lower courts. You are living in not just Trump's America, but a Republican conservative America. Sorry to say it, if you're still like considering yourself a Republican, what the fuck for? Unless you're a pedophile, unless you make more than $500,000 a year and you're just a strict, unregulated capitalist, so you suck up to fascism, or you're a racist. I don't understand why you consider yourself still a part of this party. Go independent. No, no, I agree. But at this point, if you don't believe you're one of those things, remove the title. Go be an independent. I don't even need you on my side. I'm just saying, go be an independent and start voting with your conscience. But that's that. I want to get into these DOGE depositions though, because these are also very important. We're about, we're about to. I'm just hitting. I'm just hitting these topics. So I want people to look this up over the next month before we come back and talk again. But look up the Doge depositions of Justin Fox and Nathan Kavanaugh, okay? These are 2 20-year-old white dudes who were hired by Elon Musk to destroy the federal government. And go watch these depositions and watch both the callousness of Nathan Kavanaugh, because this is a nigga who does not give a fuck, right? He is, I think, an evil person. I think he's probably a nihilist, maybe a little bit of a narcissist, but he's a kind of a fuck dude who doesn't give a fuck that he ruined so many lives. And then Justin Fox, who seems more afraid in his deposition, understanding that he fucked up, but just the hubris that allowed him to go into a job that he was gifted because his friend's dad ran Doge at the time, and then go through and say all of these black women, all of these queer people, all of these black people who were employed, and then all of these queer, black, and marginalized people who were creating programs to help marginalized communities don't deserve to get this funding. Because not only did Doge get 300,000 federal black federal workers, black federal women fired from their jobs, not only did they dissect USAID and are probably going to result in the death of millions of people nation or internationally, not only did they disrupt hella services in the country, including what do they call it? The people that watch planes and shit. I forget what it's called right now, but they did all of that. Watchtower, yeah, air traffic controllers. There you go. But they did all of that and didn't even save the government any fucking money. The deficit has raised. So they ruined all these lives. They took functions away from Americans, and still cost the government more money than it did when it employed all these people and gave benefits to Americans. And then these two motherfuckers have the ability to sit in these depositions and in their own way piss on you and call it rain. I'm telling you, go watch these depositions. You should be more angry. People need to be in chains, honestly, for what they did. Like, I can't even explain how angry it made me watching this shit, bro. I'll send it to you so you can see it. And actually, like a video that's kind of like breaking it down. It's like an hour long, so you don't gotta watch the whole 12-hour thing. But you get the gist. It's disgusting. Okay, I'll post some clips on the Instagram, of course, for you guys. But please go check it out. I know Crystal Ball from the Breaking Point. She did a video with this political commentator. Hold up, let me see if I can see it real quick. Yeah. What I learned from the 12 hours of Doge Bro depositions with Crystal Ball, and it's by the YouTube commentator. Hold up, his name is being brought up. I don't wanna fuck it up. I wanna give him credit. But my internet's slow as fuck. Matt Bernstein. Yeah, go check that shit out. Dope content, very informative, and rage inducing. Okay, so I think those are the main stories that I really want to go through. We did all that. Sorry guys, no bullshit today. We did talk a little bit about it, but again, like I don't really care about the Monica album by Jack Harlow. I don't give a fuck about Dwight Howard's wife posting cocaine. I don't give a fuck that La Russell is fucking corny as fuck and thinks that Epstein and Donald Trump are God sent. Okay, that's all distraction. Okay, there's a phenomenon. Huh? The rapper Russell? Yeah, he's getting a controversy this week because he dropped a new song where he was like, everybody God sent, even Donald Trump was God sent, even Epstein was God sent. You know, it was I don't give a fuck. He's but basically what I'm trying to say is this. There's a phenomenon I had learned about where in times of great economic political turmoil, the general public will find lower concerning celebrities or issues that they think that they can actually, you know, have some power over to release their overall frustration with the world, right? So basically what I'm saying is you feel like you have no power to stop the country from fighting an aggressive war in the Middle East. So I'm going to get Jack Harlow canceled because that nigga said nigga. Even if, you know, maybe he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Timothy Chalamet said the arts, said that nobody goes to visit ballet studios. Cancel him, cancel him, cancel him, right? And again, I'm not saying you can't have those opinions. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about celebrity culture. I'm saying if you are more concerned about that than anything else we've talked about this episode, you're probably a little distracted, boo boo. Okay? That's all I'm saying. So again, not much, not much bullshit this episode, but we ain't got a lot of time, and exactly. I mean, shit. You want some bullshit? Go look at my other shit I got going on. Okay, shit. I'll come DJ your pool party. There you go, liberation. But lastly, I do want to talk about something that is very scary that's going on right now in the country, and it's a story that has not been getting covered because so many other things are happening in the country, and we're all exhausted, rightfully so. But it's the current state of abortions in America. As we know, earlier was it last year? Was it last year that Roe v. Wade was overturned? Do you remember, Donica? Yeah, I'm trying to find some resources right now. But as we know, Roe v. Wade was overturned, and, and now there's been an uptick in women being jailed for murder charges in different states that have had restrictive abortion practices. For example, there was a pregnant woman in Georgia who took an abortion drug, and now she's in jail on a murder charge. It happened in Camden County on December 30th. Fuck. One sec. Sorry. Fuck, bro. I'm like actually gonna be a little pissed about that. But no. So yeah, no. So and she's not the only one. Um, basically, there's been an uptick in inhumane practices towards women trying to get health care because all abortion is health care in America. And there's not a lot of news coverage, clearly, because one, the Trump regime doesn't want these stories to be exposed. The Trump regime also doesn't give a fuck. And as we said earlier, the majority of major news stations, CNN, MS Now, and Fox News, are all owned by the same companies or same person. A lot of them themselves, religious zealots, Christian nationalists, Zionists, and they don't believe women have a right to the choice of their own bodies. And I've never seen The Handmaid's Tale, but I've been seeing a lot of allusions towards what's currently happening to be reflective of The Handmaid's Tale. And I just implore that everybody kind of look up these cases and see how they're putting innocent women in jail for attempting to receive health care. Something that, again, we predicted would happen. Um, People who were disingenuously arguing against my beliefs or who were ignorantly arguing against my beliefs said that that wouldn't happen, and we're here now. So, for those of you, again, who think that we are not actively fighting a life and death situation, please, please wake up. Get a clue. Um, they, Man, that health topic was kind of light, but I mean, it's fine. We gotta get out of here anyways. So let's go into content of the week. Do you have anything, Donica? Yeah, like what? I have never read a day in my life. It's none of my business. It's none of my business. That's weird. No, that's what you said. All right. While Donica's looking for her content of the week. Mm. Okay, cool. Uh, Nah, I'm not really doing music right now on the pod because it gets fucked up on the YouTube, so it's fine. Um, but cool, thank you for that. My content of the week is Dorohedoro. It's a anime that well, it's a manga originally, but it's a anime that happened on Netflix 6 years ago. Season one blew me away, and then there was never a sequel. But I mean, the anime gods smile upon us because season 2 is going to be released April 1st. So stay tuned for that shit, guys, because new. I think it's such a super interesting anime, super cool. Um, but yeah, no. So that's that. I gotta get out of here. Bullshit for your health, the most balanced podcast in the world. We appreciate you guys listening. Please like, subscribe. Find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify. If you want to connect, again, we got all our socials out there. I am now on Threads, and I'm currently causing some ruckus over there. So follow me on that shit. And again, maintain that radical optimism. We might be living in a bad country, but people are not their governments. We will make it through this. We will make these bad people pay, and we will show the world the beauty that we can offer it. Peace. Love you guys. I will see y'all next month.